Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. The miserable season is finally over. We can now look forward to the summer window, which means you know what? I'll be back. We will be having the likes of Pies on, probably Ben Jacobs. We'll be covering any other news in and around Chelsea Football Club and transfer related talks. It's going to be a massive summer for this football club. They've already appointed Pochettino, who we're going to start with. There's lots to discuss in regards to players coming in, but also leaving this club as well. We're going to go through a list of individual players that have been linked to leaving this football club. We've got the panel to come in as well at some point in the show to discuss all of the topics in and around Chelsea, from central midfield to the forward line to even the clubs that we're deciding to sell to, which is what we're going to be going through, guys. It's been a while, lots to discuss. We're back. We're going to be in full flow again. It's going to be a roller coaster of a ride this summer. I'll tell you that as well. There's going to be some interesting signings made. There's also going to be some interesting outgoings as well. But make sure you guys are smashing the likes. That's what I need you to do right now. Everyone smash the likes. Hit the thumb. Hit the thumb now. Everyone hit the thumb now before I hit the intro. Subscribe if you're new. And let's cue that intro. People, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for the first transfer talk show. And we're here to discuss pretty much everything linked to Chelsea and what's going to be going on over this summer period as well. But lots has happened already, and there's lots to obviously get through in between that. Let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Big up to Leo. How are you, bro? RD says, big up Jim. Mount leaving is the happiest day of my entire life. My Chelsea FC is back like the old days. He's excited that Mount is leaving. Obviously, it's leaving to City is going to be peak. He's pure technical quality. Pep's going to get the best out of him. He ain't going to sit on the bench. One of those players who can start for City. We're going to talk about Kovacic because I think it's worth breaking down or at least discussing and understanding the situation if we can understand it. Big up to Concierge of Crime. Nice to see you, bro. Guys, nearly 100 people here already. Big love to all of you. Nice to see all your faces again. Make sure you're hitting the likes. Big up to Edit, BCE, AE, Anthony. Pochettino will win the league. He feels confident. CFC OG's in the building. We're going through a dark tunnel. Let's hope the light at the end. Well, you've got to go through the dark to then come out at the end of the tunnel, like you said, and see the light. So hopefully it's all good. Sportswire's back in the building. Haven't seen Sportswire in a while. Big up, bro. How you been, my man? AE Edit says, come on, Chelsea. Mason will look good in red is what Matt says. Are you excited, Matt? Are you a Chelsea fan? Man United fan? Ed is in the building. Big up, Ed. How you doing, my bro? John CFC, morning, Joe. Welcome to the Sabotage, bud. Well, we're going to get into it. Shano, kindergarten FC next season. More kids than your local school is what he's saying. He's a bit disappointed. Come on, Chelsea. It's 6:33 a.m. Big up. Welcome back. Vic, nice to see you, my man. How is everything with you, my bro? David, nice to see you as well. Mount will be missed. Of course he'll be missed. Whether you dislike Mount or you love him or you're just in between, there's no condoning that he has been a good player for us. It's just not. I don't think there's one person in there that can say that he hasn't been beneficial, that he hasn't helped us for what we would say has been quite a hard period for Chelsea overall in the last couple of years as well. And I think there's a lot of disrespect to his name, which I don't think is really fair, in my opinion. Joey, what you saying, bro? This is Mace stay. I don't want to see Mason in United. That's another discussion we've got to have as well. Sup, Jim? I know it's been a bad season, but do you really need to take down the jerseys and throw them on the couch? Yeah, I have at the moment. That's how I feel. This is literally how I feel as we speak. We got Tim. We'll be fine. Mason injured all season, not worth $3 grand, is what Tim's saying. Glad Mount is going. He was throwing the toys out the pram. And that's a different story. That's a different story. But when you talk about the individual himself and what he's done and how he's, I think I think he does get a little bit of stick, in my opinion. Right. Yep, Loftus-Cheek as well. Right, let's get into things because we have got a lot to get into and I need to get the panel in as well and obviously go through everything with them. Before we start talking about outgoings and ingoings, I think it's very important that we talk on here about quickly Maurizio Pochettino, who has been appointed as the Chelsea manager. It felt like it was coming. It has felt like it was coming for a solid month now. The announcement has been made. People know my views on Pochettino. It's not that I think he's an absolutely bad manager. I just think there's specific areas of his management that I still have question marks of. What I do think he'll do, and I hope that he does well, is that he will get us playing football. He will get us playing in a design system which he's strong in, which we would either be a 4-2-3-1 or maybe even a 4-3-3, dependent on the individuals that we bring in the summer and obviously the ones that we let go. He's done the 4-3-3 at PSG. He's done the 4-2-3-1 at Tottenham. I think the 4 at the back is probably going to be the answer for Pochettino moving forward, coming into Chelsea. I think it's important that he stabilises this team. I also think that he has to have a strong, rigid approach against the actual current squad that's in there. And let's be serious, 40-odd plus players are going to be available in the summer. He used to be strong. He used to make decisions that work best for him, which I don't think Graham Potter did one bit. I don't think Graham Potter in himself made the right decisions when it comes to trying to please all of the squad, which is what I think he tried to do. He tried to please too many people. If it's going to work, he's going to have to ruffle some feathers. And that means even with the fans, because some of the fans are going to have to be ready and willing to understand that for him to get the best out of what he needs, it may mean that certain individual players are not to be in this team or, are not going to work in this team, which means either they go, maybe whole bench, whatever. So that's the first and foremost thing that I want Poch to do. I want him to take grip of this squad. I want him to exit the players that he feels ain't good enough or fit in what he wants to do. I then want him to be proactive or active in the summer window with what he needs to get in terms of strengthening. It looks like the midfield area is definitely one of the positions I'd say that we're going to see a lot of entertainment in terms of players coming in. There's a lot of players also looking to move out by looks of it as well. Well, that's interesting. Who said that? Don't know if I believe that. Don't know if I believe that. Okay, interesting. We do have a Ruben Loftus-Cheek update, which will also go into the long list of things that we've got to go through, which has just come out. Actually, it'll be one of the first things that we go into. So yeah, there's a lot that needs to be done, right? There's a lot that he needs to do to get it right. Was not big on Poch, but now I like the idea. Don't think he'll be a pushover like Poch. I don't, and that's one thing that I like already. And look, I said to Don the other day when I was chatting to him, I said he's already starting to do little things that I'm starting to think, right, is he serious? It's still very, very early doors, and I need to see who comes and goes through the summer. But in terms of specific decision making so far on certain things and what he wants to do and what I've read, it seems like he has an idea of what he wants to do. Matty, let's just say this quickly. Who's a better manager, Potter or Poch? Who's an actual manager? Relevant if you think he's trash of what he does. Who is a better manager? Well, he's not, because he had massive arguments with PSG. He actually fell out with the board at PSG because of certain decision making, which is why part of the reason why he found himself leaving the club. So, it's not that I'm defending him, because I agree with Matty to a degree in terms of certain things. I'm not 100% sold on him. He knows that. I've said this. But he's here now. And I want to give him a chance, because I do think out of Lampard, Potter, him, out of the 3 managers that we've had up to this point, at least we have a manager. Now, the big question is this. Can he be that? Can he take the extra mile or the extra step in his Chelsea career, later in his Chelsea career in making us competitive for titles, winning things with this football club. They are big questions that will sit under him for a while, and we won't see now because we're not there yet. But if he can get us playing football, if he can stabilize stabilize the system, get a fluent 11 playing, get the best out of what he has, and gets the qualities out of the players, start winning games, find ourselves in a Champions League position. Yeah, this is all progression for me. This would be all progression. I'm not saying he should come in and we should be winning leagues or challenging or whatever. But if if he does in this season somehow manage to get us in second and we're pushing and whatever, yeah, you got to take your hats off for what he's done in such a short space of time. But they are the biggest question marks with Pochettino. They are the biggest question marks for me. Matty, you crack me up. That's true. He did do well at Spurs. And I think you can't ignore the fact that he had a squad that he wasn't really backed on after a while. They didn't really give him the numbers, the squad depth, the strength that he would need to kick on. So I'm at this point now where I'm going to sit back, have my reservations on him, but I'm also going to back him because he's here, and I want to see what he can do with his team, and I really hope that he takes a solid approach to what we try and do moving forward as well. And one of the big things that's slowly starting to make me think, right, come on, this is serious. If this is true, is the comment from Adrian that says that unlike Graham Potter, who tried his best to keep everyone involved, Mauricio Pochettino is not expected to be quite as accommodating once he has decided who does and who does not fit into his plans. Good. Now, already get rid of the players that don't want to be here hasn't wanted to be here for the last couple of years. I want to see them gone. But the fact that he's now, having this rigid approach of get rid of this one, don't need that one, etc., 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 that is only a good thing for this football club. We need this. So I think let's see what happens. David Raya. Has he brought out news, players? Have a look. We are, the goalkeeping area is something we need to look at, man. Apparently, Alex Goldberg's posted the truth about Mason Mount on his Patreon. Mason Mount update. I haven't seen that yet, so I don't know if anyone's got a patch and access to the byline Alex Goldberg's Patreon, because apparently he's posted the truth on Mason Mount just now, what's happened, etc., etc., etc. You have to be a part of his Patreon to do that. So anyone that is a part of that, maybe go and read it, see what it says. It'd be interesting to know. We'll probably get someone coming up with comments soon. I just want to check Pies quickly. What's Pies saying? I'm saying things happen, guys. Things happen. What's going on here? Exclusive. Interesting. We have got goalkeeper news as well. So let's get into things, man, because we have got quite a lot to get into. Lots of things are happening. Make sure you're smashing the likes, guys. If you don't smash the likes, people don't know where we are. There is some stuff to go through, some more breaking stuff today as well. But let's quickly look at the list of supposedly individual players that we're looking to get rid of, but also claw back. And when you look at what's paid and what we want back, it looks like we're already trying to make some sort of profit on these players. What we paid is on the left. What we want back is the players that we're selling. Christian Pulisic has been linked to Juventus and Napoli for a long time, and we're looking around 25 million pounds for that, which is in the 30 million euros region, which is what I thought with Pulisic. I do think he's going to leave, so we'll see what happens with him. Mateo Kovacic is another one who we're going to talk about in a bit. Obviously, Man City very heavily linked to him. 35 million sterling, or we're within the 30 sterling for Kovacic. Probably makes sense, in my opinion. Hakim Ziyech for 15 million, just get rid, whatever. I'm at this point now where he wants to go disappear. There's talks about Koulibaly going on loan. Again, wouldn't surprise me if he's here next season, in my opinion. Edouard Mendy to Inter or Nice for 25 million. Maybe. I think one or two goalies has to leave. Aubameyang just get out the door. It doesn't matter. We're not going to get fuck all for him anyway. We've just bin him. Azpilicueta to Barcelona. Will that happen again? I don't know. They're having a bit of struggles at the moment. But I do think Azpilicueta, again, is another player that we may see leave in the summer. And I think probably the right thing to do. I know some people say, well, he gives us the experience and whatever. But I think getting rid is probably right. Callum Hudson-Odoi to Nottingham Forest is interesting, only for 10 million. I do think Callum Hudson-Odoi is well past it. I don't think he's... These are the type of players that we have to move on from, in my opinion. There's no point keep giving them chances after chances after chances. I just don't think they're ever going to hit the levels that are required in this Chelsea team. And I think Hudson-Odoi is one of them. Obviously, Mason Mount has been heavily linked to Manchester United, who we're going to talk about in a bit. Regions of around 60 million is more of what I heard, not the 75 that they've put there. But Mason Mount looks like he's definitely 100% going to be out the door as well, which means that we picked up some sort of value on the player. Mate, your fascination of him is very weird. Very, very weird. So then we move on to Gallagher, who I kind of wish we'd get rid of before Mount. I do not want Gallagher in this team. I hope that he does go, but at the same time, we need depth. So if we're getting rid of Mount, are we going to keep Gallagher? Who knows? We'll have to see. You know, and then on top of that, you've got obviously Newcastle, West Ham, Palace. Fine, he will hold value. English tax is real. It will carry some sort of value on him. But you remember, and also remember, inflation in the market is key, and we will get a little bit more on certain players that we need, and we need to, we have to, especially on the amounts that we've spent. Chalobah to Inter at 25 million. I don't think it's really true, in my opinion. I think Chalobah will probably stay. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, we're going to talk about him soon, but obviously AC Milan are pushing up the tempo on him. Felix's loan is ended. Another player that doesn't seem like we're going to be signing as well. And Zakaria, we already know, is probably going to go back to Juventus, who never really got a chance to break in to this team as well. So there's a lot of players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 players there. And I actually think there's going to be a lot more than that. I actually think there's going to be a lot more in the pints for that. Now let's get into the news now and start talking about what have I done here? Individuals. And I want to start with some of the breaking news today in regards to players, starting with Levi Colwill, who supposedly has been we've been approached by Brighton for a region of around £30 million. We've turned it away. We've also strongly considered the player not for sale, which tells me that we look at him as still a future prospect. He's still very young. He had a very good season at Brighton. And I do think that between Brighton and Chelsea, there will be more of an agreement in terms of a loan agreement, again, for Colwill. We obviously can see that there's value in this player, or potential value in this player moving forward. I think the fact that they've even offered us 30 million for him is quite insulting. Especially on the fact that they asked for Cucurella for 65 million. Don't get me wrong, Cucurella was in form when he was playing the league, but you know, you'd expect more in the regions of the 40s, in my opinion, for Levi Colwill. 40 to 50, maybe. 40s and between 40s and 50s. They're not going to get him for that. You know, they've already bent us over for players, you know, already. So I don't see why we're going to go out of our way and start doing the same thing. So with Levi Colwill, I think they're going to need to offer more. I think we may accept it if they offer us a 50 million bid or something like that, or a 45 million bid. See that happening. I see him potentially going on that way. But I think he's one that Chelsea want to sort of be open to as well. So we'll see what happens with Colwill at a later stage. But could he be one of the loanees that we have that we end up selling? That's the big question. We do want to start making money on players that potentially ain't going to break forward. But I do think Levi Colwill is one of the players that you've got to look at and go, right, well, future here. Future prospect. He's growing as a player. He's becoming more... Now he's playing Premier League football. He's becoming more there's more of an attraction to it, and his game's improving. He's going to gain more experience. He's going to, so these are a lot of things that we've got to remember. Thiago Silva's going to go. Koulibaly's going to leave one day. Well, who's going to play next to Wesley Fofana? You've got Badiashile, but you're still going to need more with that. And I think Colwill's definitely one that Chelsea are looking at and going, well, actually, we want him for the future. Now, breaking news in regards to goalkeeping or goalkeepers is this news in and around David Raya, who supposedly, exclusively, from what we've been told, this is an exclusive on London's First. Chelsea held a meeting with the agents of David Raya yesterday morning, likely to formulate interest / discuss potential projects with his agent. The reps of Raya want Brentford to lower the price tag set at 40 million. He's in the list for Chelsea. Doesn't mean that he is our first on the list, but we have already approached him, is what we've been told. What do I think of him as a goalie? I'm not massively sold on him. I don't think he's, look, if we're getting rid of Kepa and Mendy, who are not the greatest or haven't been the greatest for a while, who haven't been in for a while. But the next step has to be a goalie of some sort of proven ability. Someone that we can bring in and sort of step up, or at least step up to be, the number one and kick forward. Now, he's not a bad goalie. He's not a bad goalie. There were stats on David Raya that weren't great at the same time as well. As he put stats, all right, let's have a look. Pies is on fire today. What's he put on about Martinez? Interesting. Lovely jubbly. Okay, we'll come to that. And that makes a lot more sense, actually. So, yeah, he's on the list. Mendy or Kepa has to leave at some point. But he's an option. And a 40 million option is quite expensive for him, in my opinion, which is why Chelsea may turn away from even looking at him. But we're also being told by Pies again, another exclusive, that Pochettino really likes Emiliano Martinez and would be his preferred option, but Aston Villa do not want to sell. Chelsea will also hold talks about Onana at the same time as Lukaku. They are set to talk after the UCL final. So, yeah, there you go. Poch wants him, and we know why. He's got that dogged approach. What I like about Martinez, and I saw it in the World Cup, is he's got that leadership quality vibes. He's a good goalie. I think he's a good goalie. I'm not sure how good he is, if he can take it to the next level. You ever got a chance at Arsenal? Onana is one that I'm still not sure on. Obviously, he's having a great season at Inter Milan at the moment, but worries me a little bit. I'm not too sure, again, of the overall profile of the goalie. It's a hard one, the goalkeeping situation, because there's not really a Courtois or a Allison or a new Edison or someone. It's not a new goalie like that out there that we can just go for. So we're going to end up having to go for a goalie that is either Premier League proven, or it looks like we're trying to go for a goal that's Premier League proven. Or you go and put money in for someone like Oblak. But then with Oblak, I don't think Oblak suits us specifically, and what we're trying to do in terms of how we play. But saying that, we don't know how we're going to play under Poch. What the idea is, we're going to be a possession game, we're going to be a countering game, are we going to be, what are we going to do? I think it's hard. Ardy. I think it's going to be hard. But the one thing I would say is we do need someone new in goal. So, this exclusive on Martinez, Onana, Raya, there's a big list of goalies that are okay. For me personally, out of the three of them, I would go with Martinez. If you ask me if you want Raya, Martinez, or Onana, or ask you guys the same question, I would probably go with Martinez. I'd go with Martinez. So I'd ask you guys the same question. Who would you go for? Martinez, Raya, or Onana? Out of the three that we've spoke about. He would, but, I'm not too sure where we are with that, He ain't, but again, I still think he's a better goalie. Overall goalie for me. And Martinez, some people saying Raya, Martinez is interesting actually. Poch needs to revamp every tactic so it's boring. Onana for me is the best with the Champions League's experience. See, it's mixed between Onana and Martinez. Well, there is news on Kante, actually. Someone was telling me about. I need to have a look at the Kante news. We'll get into Kante news in a second. Where is it? N'Golo, Kante. Well, supposedly he's injured again, which is interesting. But yeah, so there's the goalkeeper options. And then we move on to the midfield and we start getting it in. So guys, smash the likes. 200 people here. Big love to every single one of you guys. We've still got the panel to make their way through very, very soon. 25 minutes in. Let's get these likes up. Come on. You haven't seen my face in a while. I appreciate everyone smashing the likes if you can do, because it does help push it out in the algorithm. Look, already we've got nearly 200 people here. So please, everyone, if you haven't done already, hit that thumb button below me right now. Hit the subscriber button as well. We're back. The transfer window's back. We're going to have a lot of news to bring to you guys. Like I said, we'll be bringing on individuals to update us on them as well. Lots to get into. Sam, darling, how are you? Hope you're having a great day. Good to see everyone in here as well. Let's talk about the next sort of new breaking news that we've had is on Ruben Loftus-Cheek and his potential move to AC Milan. London's first understands Chelsea want as much as 20 million for Ruben. AC Milan, Chelsea are in talks with Milan, but Milan have been focusing on bringing in Kamada first. No free agreed yet, but Ruben said his goodbyes to Chelsea players in the dressing room. So there you go. Ruben Loftus-Cheek did congratulate and say bye to the fans. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I believe, is leaving Chelsea, even though I wish, again, it was Conor Gallagher before him. I keep saying that. I'd rather keep Ruben and lose Conor Gallagher, in my opinion. It's a shame. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is one of them players that is just a big shame for me, because I remember them days where he was so strong, breaking through the lines, balance, dribbling ability, contributing to goals under Sarri. And I thought, wow, this is the hype of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And he got that injury and we never saw him the same again. He never broke into that level. Even though we've seen little glimpses of him doing it, he seemed to always be hesitant, holding himself back. He's a great squad player to have, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's a great squad player to have. Da-la-la-la-la. 1 second, guys. 2 seconds. He's a great squad player to have, which is it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But Pies tweet, yeah, we've seen Pies' tweet. Don't tell me he's done more tweets. Has he done more, Pies? Let's have a look. Guys, there's over 200 people here right now. Big up to every single one of you guys that are actually tuned in at the moment. Pies is seeming to shoot out a lot of news at the moment. Interesting. Mason Mount news coming up from Fabrizio Romano right this second as we're on midfield and we're talking about it. And we're going to move from Ruben on to Mason Mount, which is one of the big topics today. Now, it looks like Mason Mount has agreed personal terms, or we were told had agreed personal terms to leave Chelsea Football Club via, obviously, Ben Jacobs and other individuals like Jaybert Telegraph and the Telegraph Ducker, who have basically said that may not have agreed with with Mason Mount as the first reported. As reported last week, Chelsea will negotiate a sell if Mount indicates they want to leave, but there is a 15 and 20 million gulf in valuation. MUFC are hoping for under 60 million. They want him for 60 million. Obviously, he's agreed supposedly personal terms with them as well, which is interesting. So you know what? It's intriguing. It's really, really intriguing to see what goes on. He is leaving. It looks like he's going to leave. You know, there's more breaking news now just come out in regards to Mason Mount, which we can share on here. And it goes on to say this: no personal terms are done. No personal terms are done between Mount and Man United. However, Man United are optimistic. They feel Mount is keen, and that would not be the problem. Well, we know Mount wants to leave, right? This message in one of my mates. Um, um, just I think Pies might come through. No, at home. All right, sweet. Sorry, I was just talking to Pies. I thought you said he was going to come through. So Pies is the one that's obviously broke this news as well. So no personal terms are done between that. So that's that news from what we've been told. However, obviously we know Mount feels that he wants to leave Man United and move forward with that. And then it goes on to say this: the main problem between Chelsea, the clubs, is that Man United want to spend 45 to 50 million, but Chelsea want way more for Mount. And I get it. And I get it. But at the same time, Chelsea Football Club, if they're going to sell a player like Mount, we need to remember a couple of things. Now, sorry, I think I've missed a super chat somewhere as well, which we're going to get to in a second. Sorry, guys, I'm just sort of texting at the same time. It's taking me away for a second. But English tax is a big thing. The youth, the age of Mason Mount is the second thing, because again, English tax, the youngness of him. If we're going to get 40 million for Conor Gallagher, then Mason Mount is about 65 to 70 million easily. Let's just look at it that way in hindsight, right? They want 40 to 50 million. They're not going to get him for that. They are going to have to push the boat out for about 60 plus million for him. They haven't done that yet. Mount obviously wants to leave, which means Mount may come to the club and try and force a move away, which then may mean that Chelsea will have to maybe renegotiate with Man United in bringing it down. Andrew, big up to you. Says big up, Jim. Guns looking big. They have not even trained in ages. With Mount going with this, allow Lewis Hall to move to the midfield. He will excel even more in his natural position. I don't think that will happen, Andrew. I think Lewis Hall's definitely one for the future, but off the left. I've seen him play in the midfield, and I wasn't really that impressed in that game that he did play. It looked a little bit lost in there, in my opinion. But big love to you, my bro. Thank you for the donation as well. Yeah, so it makes sense why we're holding on for that. So at the end of the day, listen, there's a lot of time to go through with Mason Mount and Man United to get it done anyway. It's very early doors. The window's not even open yet. There's discussions talking about it, but the window's not actually open yet in itself. So at the end of the day, we're going to sell him, make value on him, because we need to anyway. We're going to have to make value on players that we can sell anyway. And I think it's just going to be interesting to work out how much he ends up going for. I was more than happy for him to stay. I think he's still a very good player. I think he's good. Even if he's not starting games, I still think he's good to have off the bench. I don't think Mason Mount, I don't hate Mason Mount as much as people do. Hate's probably a strong word, but dislike. So at the end of the day, it's going to be interesting to work out what happens with Mason Mount. And at the end of the day, it looks like he's going to leave. But if he's going to leave, then at least try and make X amount. Obviously, Thiago Silva put up a comment, I won't say a comment, but a sado comment on the fact that Mason Mount has agreed personal terms. The personal terms is always easy to get done, remember, in transfer discussions. The player can talk to the team, the club, the new club. They can agree a wage. Some people saying it could be as high as 200 to 300k. I don't believe that. I'd be shocked if it's that much. And then it's just down to the clubs to negotiate the value, and that's where it really kicks in, because I don't think where it might hit a bit of a brick wall is that if Man United don't pull another 10 plus million out of their bums to get it, I don't think we're going to let him go. And that's my honest opinion. I don't think we're going to let him go for 40, 50 million. I think we're going to want to get between 60 and 70 million for him. I don't think we're stupid enough to let him go for that low. And I think that is low for Mason Mount. Some people may think 40, 50 million is right. I don't. I think 60 to 70 million is where we should be going with it. You know, so we'll see more what happens with Mason Mount moving forward as well, and we'll keep you updated if any more news breaks on Mason Mount. I'll just have a quick look again just to see if there's any more news on it. Hell, I was just about to do it, and then I saw Lewis do this. Lewis, man, if you're in here, what is this, man? Oh, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. For next season, Mason Mount, the boy was. Listen, we don't know why he may be leaving. Whether it was him, whether it's the owners. I think it's a bit of both. I would do. I think, you know, some people will paint it's all the owners and blame the owners. It's the owners' fault. But I think it takes two to tango, especially when it comes to contracts, in my opinion. And yeah, he was only getting paid 80k or 90k, and he deserved a lot more. And that 100%, I agree with that. But what was that figure? You know, what was that figure? That's the real question mark when it comes to Mason Mount. And I think it will come out. And Alex Goldberg apparently has brought out a Patreon description brief of that. So you know, you just got to laugh, and yeah, I'm just gonna have a quick look at Pies quickly, guys. See if there's any more news before we go on to the next part, and then, like I said, we're gonna open up the lines and stuff. No, there isn't. Okay, cool. So we move from that. Now I want to quickly talk about this one. This is quite interesting, and some people may laugh and go, "Well, Jem wanted this," but supposedly João Felix will not stay at Chelsea next season. Pochettino has decided João returns to Atleti. We have been informed that Poch does not count João Felix for Chelsea. He'll return here. We'll see. But with nothing planned, Atletico president Senzo has announced he's going back. And there's going to be no negotiations to keep him on. And yeah, that might piss off some people because they look at him as like the star boy, the wonder boy, whatever that is that they like about him. I don't hate him. I actually wouldn't have minded to have him on the loan. Again, if we can get a loan agreement, I would say fine. But to sign him and for Poch to step up and say, well, actually, you're not the guy that we need, specifically in my system, is a big statement. And I actually kind of like that from Poch. Not because it's him, because it could have been Havertz that he picked. And I would have still been like, cool, he's making decisions. It's not about the individual. It's the fact that Poch is making statements in what he feels is best for him moving forward and what he needs. And that's what we need to understand. But we also do need the squad depth. And I get that. But when you've got Mudryk that you've already spent 80 million on, that's going to be there. You've got Madueke, who I think is, in my opinion, if he can continue moving forward and be managed correctly, I think could be a real top player for us. Madueke, you know, as an option. You've got Sterling, who's on a lot of money, who hasn't even turned up yet, really, who I think Poch is probably going to be quite fond of. Havertz is a bit up in the air, because if Real Madrid do want him, which is what we're being told now, there's an interest in Havertz, you know, he could still go. Now that Mount's gone, and now that João Felix is gone, and now we've got Nkunku coming in, could mean that fucking flies attacking me. Could mean that Havertz may stay, unless Havertz pushes himself out the door. No, he ain't loaning Mudryk. That's just stupid. I think with Mudryk, I think he just needs to be managed. He needs a manager. We've not had that. Lampard's not a manager. Graham Potter didn't manage him right. Or let's just say, just wasn't a manager. We need someone that can, manage him. And I can't wait for Nkunku. Nkunku is someone that I wanted 2 summer windows ago. I said, I really hope we get Nkunku. I really do. And if he's the one that wants to play behind the striker, like we're being told, as a number 10, then we'd do it. Do it. But at the same time, we do need to also have options in for Nkunku in that position. And that's why if Poch has made a decision that João Felix isn't that guy, but Kai Havertz potentially is, and I know it's a comment from Felix, who, I've liked Felix. He's a boy. He has said this. I understand Pochettino has dictated he'd like to majority set up in a 4-2-3-1 next season. I'm told Havertz is liked by Poch and will be given time in the 10 role. If a big bid doesn't come in for Kai or himself, don't push him. So basically, if Kai wants to leave and pushes himself out a door, or a big bid comes in for him, that's a different story. He'll go, that he may be gone. But if it doesn't, Poch ain't forcing him out the door. He's not done the same thing as what he's done with Felix. The difference with Felix and Havertz is a Chelsea player. Felix isn't a Chelsea player. Felix is an Atletico Madrid player. He was just on loan. So to buy Felix may cost us 70, 80 million anyway. So out of that 70, 80 million that we may get for Mason Mount and Ruben and all the players that we're looking to sell, Kovacic, is it the right choice to use that on towards João Felix, who potentially wouldn't even start in front of Nkunku anyway, especially if we're going to get a striker? That's the other side of it, guys, that we have to look at. So, oh, he's inevitable. Where is he? Where is he? He's inevitable. You can't get rid of him. You just can't. He will live. I actually thought he was going to get sold, to be honest. I did. I actually thought he was going to get sold. I was waiting for Havertz to go right, and he could still be sold. Don't get me wrong. Someone might come in and buy him. Havertz could still be at the door, but it's looking weird because Mount going, Felix not be returning. Gallagher potentially going. Ruben's left. It's making me think Kai Havertz is going to be in next season. It's making me think Kai Havertz is going to be in it unless we get a huge bid for him. And that's another story. We'll wait and see in the summer window. But I don't think we're going to force him out the door. I don't think he's one of the players that's up for sale from what we're seeing right now. I agree. I mean, I don't think Felix is I don't think that Felix isn't got the quality. I think Felix has quality. I just think Felix has... Again, he's another player that needs to be managed, but for the price that we want him for, I just don't think that was the right choice. So, interesting. Havertz, Felix. Then moves on to the big story. The bigger story, which is... And then we're going to get to Ugarte still. Mateo Kovacic, who supposedly is going Man City. Mateo Kovacic and Man City, news revealed yesterday, being told the agreement on personal terms between Kovacic and City is close. Almost completed. Man City and Chelsea will be in direct contact to discuss the fee Kovacic will leave. Now, there's a lot of Chelsea fans upset about this, but what I would say to this Kovacic scenario or saga between us and Man City is that this wasn't new. We knew this was going to happen 3 months ago. There was talks about Kovacic and Man City for a while. This isn't shock news. Does it hurt that it's Man City? Yes. But it makes sense why Man City would want someone like Kovacic. Ilkay Gundogan is going, or supposedly leaving. Bernardo Silva's going. I don't know what Rodri's doing, whether he's going to stay or go. Maybe. So they are losing players. They are losing Chelsea. They are losing players. And to look at Mateo Kovacic as an option in what they're doing makes sense. How they play football, how they move forward. However, the biggest issue with Mateo Kovacic has been the last couple of months for me. because he's not been here. His mind has not been here for this club. His performances on the pitch have not been here for this club. And as much as I like Kovacic and I think he's a quality player, I'll be quite frank with you. He hasn't really been good. He hasn't. He hasn't really been here anyway. In his mind, he hasn't been here. And I've seen it all over the pitch. He ain't even doing the basics. He's not even getting the passing right. And it's quite annoying, to be honest, for me, that a player with that much experience of his level is actually playing like he has been for us. And I know we've all been very bad. It's not just him. But when you talk about experienced players that should be leading these younger players through games when we're playing shit, he's just been as bad. So, yeah, he might get a boost going to Man City because, don't get me wrong, they're champions and whatever. And we could look at the owners for selling him to hit them. But obviously he wants it and Man City want it. But you also have to remember that we also negotiated with Man City for Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling was a big player to Man City and they agreed to let him go to us. So this is another situation of vice versa from Chelsea to City to City to Chelsea, in my opinion. How much we get from him is a different story. But look, if we sell Kovacic and this happens, I don't really think I'll be pissed off. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't. Because you've got Enzo Fernandez. We're going to talk about Ugarte in a second. And then this talks about Caicedo. And if we're going to move forward and get rid of the old, which we've had for the last couple of years, then I don't think this is that bad, in my opinion. Where does it say we want Vlahovic? I need to see this. Is anyone saying that? This is just someone talking. I've not seen any news about Vlahovic. So at the end of the day, I don't know what was going on there. I was just reading something. I've not seen any news about that. I thought I'd just check. So at the end of the day, it sucks, but at the same time, for the reward that we may get, and this is the big step, all right, let him go, wherever it is that he's going to go. But in terms of the next step of player that's going to come in, which supposedly we're being told could be this guy, or we're keen on getting, then get it done. Get it done. So at the end of the day, Caicedo could turn out to be a bit. Then you know what? I'll be honest with you, replays. I like Basuma, but I don't think he gets played enough at Spurs. And to be honest, he's been out for quite a long time anyway. I don't think there is a player in him. I just think the decision making of going to a team like them is just not work for him. But the news of him us wanting Moises Caicedo in the summer is apparently quite strong. We're going to see Mount's going, Gallagher, Kovacic. That opens the doors. We're going to have to get more than just one midfielder. And I know Ugarte is one of the players that Chelsea are looking to bring in or finalise very soon. But with Enzo, Ugarte, that's not enough. Kante's on the fringes. So we're going to have to buy more midfielders. It could be another one, which is Caicedo, maybe two. We're going to need strength in depth. There was talks about Valverde as well, which is never going to happen, in my opinion. Valverde. I know we always link to all these Argentinian players now because of Pochettino. But then we do then go on to this, which is becoming stronger and stronger. Mauricio Pochettino and his comments in regards to Manuel Ugarte knows that Pochettino wants him and Chelsea and conversations are ongoing. So again, via Fabrizio Romano, we're being told that this is serious. Chelsea are trying to make this happen. But what's the issue with the deal between Chelsea, Ugarte, is PSG? Because PSG, from what we're being told currently, are offering him more wages. Chelsea are only willing to offer him €2 million. And from what we understand, PSG are offering him a lot more than us. And that could be a sticking point. We have been told that Chelsea have further upped their bid for Ugarte. What that is, we're being told, is around €3 million now, euros. And maybe we're further along than what we know. And you've got to remember the one thing about this summer window transfer new things that we should be learning from it based on the previouses that we've been in with others, other windows, is that even though this news has come out now, it could be a lot further down the line. Could be a lot further down the line right now. So at the end of the day, I think we have to wait and see. Do I think we're going to get Ugarte? It looks strong. Could we still not get him? Maybe. But at the same time, do we need more midfield than just him? Yes. Does he fit the profile? Yeah, because he is a sitter. He will break up play. He will allow Enzo Fernandez to move forward. And that's the real big key, because Enzo Fernandez next season has to be built around. We need to see Enzo Fernandez being built around, in my opinion, because having Enzo Fernandez further up the pitch, being able to create, being able to do what we know he can do, and we have seen as this season, but not worry as much going the other way or having to worry about that. Wow. Interesting stuff. And I know it doesn't mean Chelsea, but look who's just come available. Who's ready for this one? Look who's just come available. Karim Benzema via the Madrid Extra, which is a big platform, has confirmed that he will be announcing he'll be leaving today. Karim Benzema will be leaving Real Madrid. He'll be announcing that today, which makes Karim Benzema available in the market. How old is Karim Benzema now? How old is Karim Benzema now? He's 35. He's pushing on. He's still scoring so many goals, though. He's 35 and he's still banging in goals. Let me go to his... Could Chelsea eventually get Karim Benzema? Could we see us go in for someone like that, knowing that we're looking for a striker? Would Karim Benzema be an option for Chelsea? He's free. I mean, he's got... I know he's 35 now. He's pushing 36, but imagine having Karim Benzema available. You're going to have to pay him a bit, yeah. But he's going. Enzo is not a DM. And to be honest, I feel Ugarte as a Kante type, not a sitter. Different profiles. I would still bring in a cheap attacking backup for Enzo and sell everyone else. What did Matt say? What did Matt say? I didn't see what he said about. Messi is leaving too. Let's get him. So you got Enzo Calzado. Is that too many DMs? Well, no, because Enzo's not a DM. Like you said, yeah, no gem. He's heading for 200 million. Yeah, I know. A lot of these players do, to be fair. But, it's worth seeing, In the meantime, let's send the link. I want to just hear your views, guys. 4231 image. So if like, okay, let's get Matty in. Matty, I'm going to send you a link, mate. Let's see what you're saying. I haven't spoken to you in a while. Matty. Oh, 1 second. Mason Mount update. Oh, we got a Mason Mount update. I'll come 1 second, Matty. Via the byline. This is what they were talking about in regards to why Mason Mount is not staying on at Chelsea. Are we ready? Let's see. Let's get some things straight. Mason Mount and his camp had a verbal agreement with Chelsea right before the World Cup. The verbal agreement was then pulled by Chelsea in early January. There has only ever been one formal offer from Chelsea, and that was a one-year deal at the beginning of February. Everything else was just verbal. As of right now, there is still nothing for Mason to sign. Reports of Mason agreeing personally with Man United are 100% incorrect. Wow. Interesting. So, apparently, according to Alex Goldberg, Mason Mount hasn't agreed anything. Mason Mount hasn't been offered anything from Chelsea. Just not been offered anything from Chelsea. And this whole thing about Man United at the moment is not true. Which don't surprise me if he is right. Because let's be serious. How many times have we sat here and this has happened? PR, people were saying. Do you think that's the case? He needs to prove himself again. That one-year deal was smart. So Chelsea board giving him a one-year deal is for him to show his worth, and maybe then. So maybe this was the conversation, guys. If this is the truth, maybe the conversation with Mason Mount, was this, right? Listen, you want X amount of money, but we've only been here for X amount, and we've not really seen you perform this season. We've had a bad season. We don't want to give you 200k, 250k, whatever it is you're asking for. Why don't you sign a one-year extension? Prove to us in that 1 year that you're worth what you think, and we'll then relook at maybe the contract on an overall basis. Then, what do you reckon, mate? From reading that, do you think that was maybe a potential move from the board to try and say, look, well, this is why we're not giving you it, because we want to see more from you with a 1 year extension?
I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, Mount is a bang average player. We said that from day one. Bang average player. He's had a horrible season. And for me, as a proclaimed generational world-class talent, I would suppose him to step up in these times like this when you need him, correct? So I agree exactly right. I think he's had a shocking season. They gave him a one-year deal, as the byline said, and I've said from the start, buying, listening to the byline is like buying a girl's OnlyFans. Like, you can get better shit on the internet for free. There's no point listening to this rubbish. I've said it fucking multiple times. I've called them out. They're rubbish, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if this PR. The reports on personal terms is 100% incorrect. I think it's legit. There's been multiple sources coming out saying it's legit, and it's legit that he's not signing a contract. It's 100% legit. He's not staying at Chelsea. We haven't given him a contract till, as proclaimed, February, which they got that one right. And what says we're going to offer him contract in the next 2 weeks? That is done. We're not going to give him any more contracts. He's gone. So he's 100% off our books. So where he goes is a problem. Now, as I said, we're not offering him a contract because for me, he's not good enough. He's not good enough to be offered a new contract. Right? We are getting better players in. That means some players got to go. Right? For me, at best, he's a squad player. Do you want to have a squad player on 250k a week? I mean, you guys say you don't want Kepa. If he becomes a squad player, I want him gone too. If he's on a 250k a week, it's just too much. So he's gone for me, and it's happy days for me, Jem. It's happy days.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that feel the same. Obviously, there's others that don't and feel that he's done enough up to this point to be honoured what he wants. If Reece James gets 250, why doesn't Mason Mount get 250?
Well, Reece James is world class. That's the difference. I mean, let's simple it down for me, right? Mason Mount is, for me, is the Michy Batshuayi, right? I compare him to Michy Batshuayi. He's a player who did one amazing thing and then was bang average for the rest of it, right? That's what Mason Mount is. Willian leaving I was more sad when Oscar left. I was more sad when Willian left. I have no sympathy for this. I have the same sympathy when Batshuayi left to Mason Mount. I don't care. He's a bang average player, right? Reece James gets money because he's a world-class player. He's shown at the world-class level, at world-class consistency. Mount used to have one good game, goes for 10. He scored 19 GNA against the bottom 6 teams. It's embarrassing. 8 open play assists in 3 years from a forward. 8 open play assists. And you want 250k a week? Come on.
I don't think. Well, we don't know what he wants. Let's be serious. We don't know specifically what he wants. But what I would say is that I don't think Mason Mount is specifically like I'm not on the same level as Matt when it comes to just disliking the player and not liking him. If he signed and stayed for us, I would actually not mind it. I do think that I think there is quality in Mason Mount, and we have seen it. I agree that he's not a world-class level, as some people talk about him being, which he's not. But at the same time, when you look at the players that are leaving or we're looking to flush out, One of the players that I'd prefer to stay over them is Mason Mount. I'd rather Conor Gallagher go. I'd actually prefer Ruben Loftus-Cheek to go. I'd rather have Mount in the team, in my opinion. But at the same time, I get why the owners are maybe a little bit reluctant. They've only been here for an X amount of time. He's not really shown much. He's not been played through this period. People will say that's down to contract, and that's probably why we're not seeing enough of him. But whether he stays or goes, I don't really care. I'm so bored of the saga, to be honest. Like, if he stays, I'm not going to cry because I actually don't mind him being in the team. If he goes and we get 60 million from him and he goes somewhere else, I don't care. So, I mean, Winter Surfer, what's your feelings on this whole Mount saga?
Looking at that information by Goldberg, right?
Goldberg, yeah.
Who's in the pocket of Mount anyway. But if that's the offer, then I understand why he's not taking it. No player wants a 1-year extension if they think they've done well previously. I also maybe take into effect that we offered him before the World Cup. Am I reading? Or was it just after the World Cup?
I think it was just before the World Cup.
Before the World Cup.
Yeah. Is
there any link to we got the technical directors in around that time, or was it just after the World Cup or something like that, like Vivell and that? And now
it says there, Mount and the camp had a verbal agreement with Chelsea right before the World Cup.
Right. When did Vivell with Stanley and that join?
Well, they weren't around then.
I swear it was just. Wasn't it Jan? Didn't he join for the Jan window?
I'm just thinking.
What it says there.
I'm just thinking if they joined after this and then looked at, because apparently one of the reasons.
Hey, I'll tell you when Vivell was announced.
Yeah, this board is very data driven as well. So
Vivell joined Chelsea in 21st of December 2022.
Okay, so it was after the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
So it was after the World Cup. So I wouldn't, a conspiracy hat on, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow they've got in a year or looked at this and gone, wait a minute, what are we offering here for this player? But I can understand from his side why he wouldn't accept a 1-year extension. No player's going to want to do that.
I get that. I do. But at the same time, I get it why the board might say, well, look, you're saying you want X amount and we don't know what that X amount is, right? We will, we're not saying we won't do that. But what we want from you is that we've had a shit season, but we want to see you incorporate under Pochettino. We want to see that level that that you have shown in the last 2 years in front of us, and we'll give you.
I can understand.
And from that, we'll have a contract discussion from that. That might have been the discussion with him, and maybe he feels, well, no, let's be serious. He was the poster boy at Chelsea. He was everywhere. Let's be serious. 100%. Everything was like of Mason Mount here, Mason Mount there. At the end of the day, he's going to come with some sort of energy in terms of into contract discussions because of that, because of what he maybe has done for Chelsea in the last 2 seasons as well. Right, it's not of a great standard, right, of the levels, but when you look at the goals that we scored in them seasons and the assists that we done in them seasons, it was shocking digits, wasn't it? But it was still Mason Mount that was top of them, right? Wasn't it? So at the end of the day, like, I get Mason Mount's point. And this is what I said to people. Some people want to jump on the whole Mason Mount side and just hate the owners and make the owners look really bad people. Yeah. And on the flip side, there's other people that are saying, well, the owners are doing it's great. I just think it takes 2 to tango.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Negotiations. That's what it is.
I think it goes both ways. So,
I think he has every right not to. Exactly. If he doesn't want to sign the contract, that's completely fine. I mean, to be honest, I understand why they offered it, Jim, and I understand why he declined it. He didn't want it. That's fair enough. Hazard didn't want the contract we gave him. He wanted to go to Madrid. That's fine. We let him go. There's a bigger uproar of Mason Mount leaving than Hazard ever was. I know Twitter Spaces weren't around. These streams weren't around when Hazard was leaving. But I just did not see the same energy when Hazard was leaving. To me, that's just a bit embarrassing. But you're right. He was posted on. I think there was some agreements, in the contract with some video terms. So that's why maybe they were pushing from the stay for that extra year, because obviously, I don't know if you guys watch the YouTube channel on the Chelsea, but every time it's Mount, Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher, Mount, Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher. So they get a lot of views and stuff on that. So they're always also got to look at the business side of it too.
Yeah. I am getting quite bored of talking about Mason Mount, to be honest, because it's a saga that's been going on for so long. I just can't.
And it's ending. And it's ending, Jem. Don't worry, it's going to be ending soon. It's ended. But I was going to ask Jem before about this. I sent the chat before about Ugarte, Enzo, and Caicedo. I haven't watched Ugarte. I only watched that game against Arsenal. Been hearing he's a great player, whatever. How are we going to set up next season with him? If we got Ugarte, Enzo, Caicedo, how are we going to set up with that?
The only way that we can set up with all 3 of them being in the team is a 4-3-3, and then that means that it would make sense as to why we're losing so many midfielders if this is true what's going on. Because if you look at Ruben leaving, Mount leaving, Conor Gallagher leaving, you're going to look at more of having, quick wingers. Because you're going to have your three in midfield. So you're going to have Enzo and Caicedo, let's say, as your eights. And then Ugarte sitting in the pocket, right? That's what I think we would do. Or it might be the other way around. Caicedo sits in the pocket and then you have Ugarte. But there's also the option with Ugarte to play the double pivot. But if you get Caicedo and Enzo as well, I'm not going to complain because it's competition. But I feel Enzo has to play because of the abilities of what he can provide further forward. So then it just gives you the argument of who do you play out of the two. So it could play a 4-3-3 because when you look at Pochettino at PSG, he played a 4-3-3 and he played Verratti and he played, can't remember what his name was next to him. Yeah. So he had the three in the middle. He had Rabiot in there, I think it was, or whatever it was. Yeah. So, he has played the 4-3-3 and used Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe as the front three. We could see a 4-3-3 happen at Chelsea. I think the four at the back is definitely a solid thing that Pochettino is going to look to do, in my opinion. But I don't mind it because you can't get rid of Kovacic, you can't get rid of Mount, you can't get rid of Ruben, and maybe potentially Gallagher, and only have Kante, who's on the fringes, who's injured again, by the way. He's got injured again. It's shocking. And only have Enzo as your only available player. And this is what I'm saying to people. Even getting your guy, and maybe even getting Caicedo, would probably mean that we probably end up signing another player in that position, maybe a lot cheaper as well. So I think there could be a lot.
You can get Lavia too as well, or even you can go. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I was telling this to Lewis about that Russian guy, Zakatarian. I don't know if we're still in for him. Maybe someone like that, someone super dirt cheap, or you bring in the Chukwuemeka to continue starting more. It depends, or even what's that, Santos to start more if you get to work visa. So it's that.
Where Nkunku fits in here is he plays off the left, and Mudryk will have to hold bench, and him and Mudryk will have to switch because Nkunku's original position was playing off the left as an inverted winger. He's only recently got moved into the middle pocket because of his improvement in his goal scoring in front of goal in the last couple of seasons, and that's where he's become quite prolific. But you could see Nkunku playing off the left and then coming into the middle and still doing that. I don't know. It just depends. This is the thing. We have no fucking clue what Poch is going to do right now. Do you know what I mean? We don't know what he wants to do, but maybe he just wants to have options. Maybe he wants to have Caicedo, Ugarte, Enzo, and play 4-2-3-1, but just have them all, fighting. And I don't mind that. Do you know what I mean? So, Surfer, what do you think, mate, with the whole midfield?
Well, I think, like you said, I think Mount's going to go. Loftus-Cheek's going to go. Kovacic's going to go. Who else? I think Gallagher's going to go, and I think Kante's going to leave because he's running. His contract's running down, so he can leave actually for free. And we all waited to see, this was new improved Kante. By the way, before I go ahead, I'd just like to say I thought Lampard again overused Kante as soon as he was available and fit to start, playing him 90 minutes.
He did the first time he come round as well, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Every manager's done it with Kante. I remember Tuchel doing it a couple of times with him as well, just throwing him in for 90 minutes right away and stuff like that. So, but I think he's going to go because if you read reports and if you listen to Fabrizio, no matter what anyone says, everyone calls him a tapping merchant, but you all wait for his news and stuff like that and read what he's going to say.
True.
But if you actually hear him the way he's even last week, he speaks about Caicedo and Chelsea. It's not an alternative to Ugarte. It's an addition to Ugarte. And that would mean, because I think people are linking Caicedo to Arsenal, but I think Arsenal are all in on Rice. And they're going to have to pay something like 90 million for him. And I don't think they're going to pay another up to 60, 70 million for Caicedo as well. I just don't think they're going to do it now. I could be proven wrong, but Caicedo's gettable, but we're going to have to sell first before we can buy. So that's why you're seeing such a progress in the Kovacic news.
In the midfield as well. It seems like we're seeing a lot of midfielders.
Kovacic is practically probably going to be announced after the Champions League final. RLC, we're not that far away from agreeing with AC Milan. This Mount no terms thing, I don't agree. Personal terms are the easiest part of the deal to agree. Yeah. They're the easiest part of the deal to agree. So whether he's agreed it or not, maybe it's not formally agreed. It's just like a nod or something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And also, we're not going to get 85 million from Mount. I think we're going to settle anywhere from 60 to 65 million.
That's what I said.
For Mount. Remember, it's 55 to 85. Remember those two sums. It's going to be somewhere
Well,
in the middle.
supposedly, currently, from what we've been told, they've issued around 40 to 50, and we turn it away, which I think is too low for him personally. When you look at English,
Right. So I think we're not. I think it might be
Yeah.
one of those deals, Jem, that with the new thing that's now in transfers, the add-ons. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gets it to like 60, 65 or something like that.
Yeah.
But remember, also next season, we're not playing a lot of games next season. We're playing once a week, so the squad doesn't have to be that big. So you could have Enzo, Ugarte, Caicedo, and one other, whether that's a Chukwuemeka or Andre Santos or something like that. So you could just have it like that because we're playing once a week, so we don't have to really have that big a squad.
It will allow us to focus more on the domestic side of it for the first time. You know, not having to worry. Yeah, you know, and improve our position, improving positions. A progressional season for Chelsea next season under Pochettino would be Champions League football. That for me is progression. Some people will say, well, yeah, but we were in Champions League football the 2 years prior to that. Yeah, we were, but you look at the way that we were moving forward and getting these Champions League positions, there was a lot of luck on the way. What I want to see next season is consistency in wins. Yeah, we're going to lose games. Of course, we'll lose games and draw. But I want to see pattern. I want to see patterns of play. I want to see a structure. I want to say it's a set 11, but a main core 11 that we start seeing a little bit more playing and working, and chemistry's there with, you know, and Pochettino has to get that right. He has to piss some people off because Graham Potter didn't.
By the way, just sorry, Jim.
Yeah.
They've attributed another quote to Fabrizio. What it says is Mason Mount has not completed personal terms with Manchester United. So it's not like Goldberg said it's 100% not true or something like that. So it's not completed. However, it doesn't feel like it'll be a problem, which it won't. It won't be a problem. So whatever the personal terms are, whether they're completed now, whether they have been or something like that, that's not the biggest. People shouldn't be, that means the move is not happening. It's the easiest thing to agree in a deal. It's usually the personal terms. So
it gives me the same feeling as the deal that we had with Rudiger. When you remember when it just went really quiet, and when you read about like nothing happening from the World Cup to now, and there's only been one formal offer to him, and that it gave me that feeling. And I've got a feeling that he will go. It's just on value. I don't think, like you said, personal terms are the issue. It's just who's going to pay the money for Mason Mount.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, John. I think it's 100% agreed term to the fact that he's not staying here next year because, again, even if he stays, it's come down to another thing that he wanted to leave and he's been pushing out. And I don't know. I mean, his contract's going to be ending soon anyway. So I think, honestly, for me, 50 million is quite a lot for a guy who has 1 year left on his contract. So I would take 50 million.
I think 60 to 70 mil personally. Only because
that's fine. Yeah, it depends. I think for me, 55, 60. That's fine. He's only got 1 year left, but I think they'll get done. You know, I think they'll get sorted. But for me, I think it's 100% personal terms that he won't be staying here next year. That's how I see it.
Mr. Yellow Bus, what are you saying? It looks like in terms of personal terms, the easy part's being agreed. Then we're being told no, they ain't, and it's easy to be discussed. It's more the sale of the value of the player of Mount. I mean, seems like everyone's agreed and accepted the fact that he is going to leave, and apparently we've only put one formal offer into Mount since the World Cup, which is part of the reason why we found where we are today. So, I mean, how do you feel about it all? To be honest,
I feel like we've talked about this so much before it has actually happened that it's like it doesn't matter. And I've said he was going to leave like a year and a half ago, and I said he was going to go to Manchester United, mainly because this manager is obsessed with him. But I mean, that being said,
you're right. Yeah, he is obsessed with him. You're right. He said it when he's at Vitesse. You're right.
I said this a year ago. I said when he came out twice in 3 months and said, "I want to play as a number 8." Our fan base is like, who gives a shit? You play where you play. Yeah, well, it actually matters. You know, once you start, I think probably the World Cup played a huge part. Yeah. Once he started getting benched at the World Cup, and maybe I feel like he has a lot of awareness and understands. He's always been about where he plays and how he wants to play. Because I took those interviews seriously when he came out and said it. You know, after your greatest season, you score 29 goals. Your first interview is, I haven't gotten to play as a number 8. I really want to play my position, and I'm really a number 8. No, it's on the Chelsea website. You can look it up. But yeah, so a year ago, I knew he was gone, and I knew he was going to go here. We had the conversation on here, and we're talking about Liverpool, and Liverpool's his only option. He can only go there because I think he's going to road run there. All of these narrative, and listen, it is what it is. I feel like As someone who really likes Mount, I don't care if he goes. Like a lot of people go. The problem I have is like a lot of people who wanted him gone are more upset that he's gone than the people who wanted him. I think it's like a Chelsea fan thing. It's like if you're a youth player, we want to be able to tell you to fuck off, not you tell us to fuck off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
it's fucking true, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yo, I've been on so many streams. Like, fuck him, get him out of here. We're tired of him. Oh, he's going to Manchester United. He's a snake. How dare him go to Manchester? Well, you wanted him go. I
don't fucking know, is it?
What? It's like Georgie. I wanted Georgie gone by any means possible.
Yeah.
He went to Arsenal. I didn't care. Go through my Twitter and see if I tweeted, "Oh, he's a snake."
I didn't care.
I didn't give a shit. I genuinely believe he's not a good player, right?
Hashtag, you sort your microphone out, mate.
So that's just the only thing. It's like we don't need to make up all this MCU narratives like he's an MCU villain who it's not
that deep.
It's corny. Get your engagements up, but it's corny. It's not that big of a deal.
I want you to go, but I want you to go where I tell you to go.
I hate you even more now, but why are you going to Man United?
Right.
Like, let him go wherever the hell he wants, man. Fuck.
Don, I want to.
And here's the funny thing: if it was Arsenal, it'd be the same thing. If it was Liverpool, it'd be the same thing. The people telling us now,
but he was always going to one of these teams because they wanted him anyway. So I don't get.
This is what I was telling Couch. Couch was trying to argue that he's not going to have many suitors. Like, I'm sorry, this is Mason Mount. This is English Mason Mount, who's been playing in the Premier League for how long now? He's an English international. Why would he not have many suitors? He was always going to get suitors.
Maybe they felt he was like a Ross Barkley, who even though he was young and shit and injured.
Nah, man. Mason Mount's got a lot. I don't know about you guys in America, but Mason Mount has a lot of clout in this country, man. You see him everywhere. You go to like supermarket. He's like one of England's golden boys. Like he's got a lot of clout,
bro. That's what he is.
Poster boy, yeah. So, Jim, just on this with Mason Mount, like my take on it, right? I spoke about this quite a lot, quite early on. Personally, I just think he's realized he's not the poster boy at Chelsea anymore. You know, under Frank Lampard, this guy was on the team sheet without even checking the team sheet. He knew he was on there every single week. Tuchel, same thing as well. I just think he's kind of lost that. He knows he's not that poster boy anymore. So realistically, he's not going to get the money he's going to ask for, that he's been asking for, because again, his role in the team's changed now. We've got Enzo there. We've got better players around this team that we're looking to build with. So for him, he's probably looking at it and thinking, I'm not going to get into this 11. I can go get more money elsewhere, get more playing time elsewhere, be another poster boy elsewhere. It's time for me to just move on. So for me, I was happy keeping Mount as a squad player. I was saying from early, this guy should have been taken out of the 11 because, he just wasn't playing well, making simple passes, through balls, the guy was struggling to do it. When I was at Anfield, I was actually looking at him. I was watching him specifically, Jem, right? And this guy was hiding behind players. I knew his confidence was on the floor. He hasn't been performing now for what? I'd probably say a year for England and Chelsea. So it's not like a thing that's happened this season where we've been a mess. He was underperforming under Tuchel as well. So I don't know why people are acting as if this is a generational player. This is the next homecoming of Iniesta. Like, Mason Mount's a good player. He's a solid enough Premier League proven player. But we can definitely use that money to upgrade him with a Casado. Or do you know what I mean? So we could definitely use that money to upgrade him and get a better option. So for me, I've seen better leave, man. It's not that deep. Like it's not that deep. There's just a lot of people are quite like sentimental and it's Cobham and this that, mate. That doesn't mean anything. When it's time to go, it's time to go. And like you've said, Jem, it takes two to tango. He doesn't want to be here. He does not want to be here. Like I said, he's not poster boy anymore. Go to United. Let them pay the 250 or however much he wants. Because Man United always offer the bag. So
here's why I disagree with a lot of what you said about the poster boy things. I think that's a little bit of a projection. Like, you might feel like he's not anymore, so he shouldn't be here. But the club still use him for everything. Every single thing they want to use him for, he's the one they use. Oh, we have a TikTok. Go for the TikTok. Oh,
nah. But you're missing the point that I'm making.
We have some sick kids want to do a video. You go do the video. Or we're going to send out birthday emails. We're going to send it out with your picture. That's why
Dan,
he
Dan.
wanted image rights. So
You're missing the point I'm making. Yes, off the field, yeah, they might still be using him, but I'm talking about on the field, like the poster boy on the field,
hold on.
bro.
On the field,
he's not.
He got his. He had a poster on his last home game he played. His
hold
poster
on.
came
On
out.
the field, even when he was in this poor form that you're mentioning, Potter was still playing him till he stopped, till he rejected the final contract. And then
going forward, realistically, what I'm saying is going forward as of next season, Mason Mount. I was like, even before Potter got sacked, I said this guy doesn't start for me right now. We've got better options there that we can buy, right? And
like
but realistically, looking at it like this, right? Next season, do you think Mason Mount starts in this 11 with Cooper coming in?
I've heard this shit 4 years straight, and he still starts. Like, it's tiring to keep hearing this shit. Like,
no joke, right? No joke.
Dan. You said he'll be the top goal scorer for us as well this year. Don't forget that.
When?
I'm sorry.
You have the video?
Start of the season.
What it is,
you have a video?
What it is,
I'll go find it. I'll go find it. I swear.
Dan, what it is, just a quick
find it.
2 seconds, boys. Yeah, Dan. What it is, he's not a guaranteed starter like what he was when he first sort of broke through, and what he's been during his time at Chelsea is the point that I'm making. Ten Hag might be giving him a bigger role. Poch might have a role for him. Yes, he might be in and out of the team, starting some games here and there. But honestly, I don't think he's a guaranteed starter anymore. He's not.
Listen, this is your opinion.
I agree. He's not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's my whole thing. When Chelsea fans build teams, I've been here for a long time. I've talked to Jem a long time. Every year, Chelsea fans will build teams, and it's like, he can't play as a forward. He's going to be on the bench. And then he plays. Somehow, some way, these managers keep playing him. You think a nigga like Mudryk, sorry for using that word, but someone like Mudryk is going to start over him next year with Poch? Are you crazy? Do you think Poch? You're going to be upset?
Yes. Mudryk will start ahead of him.
No, he won't.
He will start ahead of him on the wing because he gives something completely different that Mason Mount can't give us. When it comes to running in behind, actually playing as a winger, not just running about, keeping the ball, retaining the ball. We actually need runners in behind.
It's not even
Mudryk's going to get used next season. That the plan is not to play Mason Mount on the wing.
Right? But his question was, it would be over Mount. It would be.
Yes, I do believe over Mount. Yes. Why wouldn't he?
This is where
you guys. I don't know. I feel like you guys are maybe you guys rate Mount more than I do, because realistically, I don't see him starting in this team next season. Yeah, he might start certain games, but when everyone's available and fit, Mason Mount does not start. Especially
should I be brutally honest?
Plus,
with you,
under
Potter, right?
Mate, and don't forget,
you're talking about Graham Potter. You're talking about Graham Potter. Let's not.
No, Pochettino. Sorry,
Hassan, you got Nkunku coming in as well. You're Nkunku coming. Your Mudryk kind of coming from. Madueka's picking form. Where is Mount starting?
Yeah, I know. See, I heard all this before.
And no, Daniel, you said the exact same thing last year. I remember you said the exact same thing last year. I remember you said that, and you said he'll start every game.
Matt, you can make up whatever you want to make up. I'm not gonna.
You said the exact same. You said the exact same thing last year. You said Mason Mount will play every single game. And I said Rafinha and Dembele, if they come in, they'll start him out.
So I said he's going to be top scorer.
And you said that, and you said he'll be the top goal scorer, and you play every game. So I said last season, Dan. I said then, Mount's not going to start next season. I don't want him to start. You know, he always start. I've been here. You said the exact same thing you said now last season. You said the exact same thing.
Okay, let me say this. You're street talking. I've never spoken to you about the season. Like, we barely.
Yes, you have, Dan. You came on last season on this exact same channel.
Show me the stream.
Then I can't. You know what? You just block me. I'm trying to find your Twitter. I can't even find it.
It's not mentioned until you show me.
I can't even find them because I'm looking at your Twitter. You can't even.
All right. Away from that, boys. Dan, why do you?
You said I said it on stream. You said I said it on Twitter. Like, you can't make stuff up that I said. And
why would I say your name, Dan? Dan, you don't come on. I said your name because you said it.
Guys, can I ask you one question, right?
You said my name because we've had a back and forth.
Okay, I'm moving on from Mason Mount. I've decided. Let's go. Right. So I've got a lot of other things I want to talk about. So Mateo Kovacic leaving to Man City. Does it bother anyone in here or not?
No.
Nah, who cares?
It's annoying. It's annoying. The word is it's annoying, Jem, that it had to be Man City. But again, realistically, who did people think were gonna come in for him? Like, he's been linked to City for ages. He's been linked.
He's either gonna be City or Bayern. That was the only two.
He's linked to Bayern Munich, and he was linked to I believe it was one of the Milan teams he was linked to as well. But I don't want him to go to City just because everybody knows Kovacic's ability, with the ball. carrying the ball, creating space. And if you can do that at City, you know, if you can bring that to City, obviously City's already such a great team, and now bringing that's just an additional quality. The only thing now, and I said this in our little chat yesterday, is City have midfielders who can do that, but they can also put the ball in the back of the net or play a final pass. And I think that's where Kovacic falls short. So if he goes to City, hopefully, you know, those flaws start to come to fruition more. But I think in general, he'll be a good player for City.
I think it makes sense when you look at Gundogan going, Bernardo Silva leaving. It makes sense of why they'd want to bring in a player like Kovacic. I think he's like you just said, his ability to be able to carry the ball will be a benefit from them. But like I also said about Mateo Kovacic, and I'm talking about him in a Chelsea shirt, he hasn't been in with us for the last couple. I don't even know what player I was watching. He wasn't there anyway. So you know,
we were at Everton together, Jem. Are you forgetting how poor he was that day? That was the beginning of the end for this guy, right? At Everton, I was seeing this guy trying to pick up the ball from the back four and just constantly losing it, spinning around like a Beyblade, just not doing the basics. That's when you know that a player is mentally checked out, because this guy has not been doing the basics that you would expect a player of his ability to be doing. We saw this guy ripping it up in the World Cup. He comes back to Chelsea, he gets the armband, playing all right for a little bit, scored against Leicester. As of Everton, just went downhill. It just got worse and worse. So I think it's just the right time. I think for him, he's just mentally checked out. I still rate him. I still think he's a good player. He'll be good in City system, because one thing about him is when he's driving with the ball and he loses it, they get it back instantly. With us, it's a big mistake. It's a mistake. If he loses the ball in our midfield, then it's wraps, because we just don't have any cover. But with Man City, he can definitely keep that ball. Again, when it comes to losing it, they can retain it quite quickly. So I think he'll do really well there. But I think it's just time for us to part ways. I think it's the right time. It's just annoying. It had to be City.
He was one of the players that, according to sources in January, were the split. Like he was one of the players that wanted out. So it was inevitable at that point. And I can't remember the exact source, but it was at the time where players were falling out. They hated the whole constant change of like managers, change of systems and stuff like that. And it's inevitable, really. And if you can't convince any players, like when it comes to Cobham, Kovacic and stuff, they got to go.
This is the thing, Hassan. This is the thing. When a player doesn't want to be there, you don't.
There's no point convincing them.
That's what we got to learn.
It's like being in a relationship, right? And the girl doesn't want to be with you no more. You just move on, bro. You don't beg her to.
I remember when Bernardo Silva wanted to leave City, and they told him, "Fuck off. You're not going anywhere." It doesn't work that way all the time.
Exactly.
A lot of times when people are poor quality, I don't care. It's not even about if he doesn't want to be here or be here. If he doesn't
but he's mentally checked out, bro. We don't need that in the dressing room.
You have to hold on. You have to ask questions. Hold on. You always have to ask questions. Why is this guy mentally checked out? Why a top player? If you
could be many reasons. Could be many reasons.
If you think he's a top player, you ask the question: why is this guy mentally checked out? As a club, let's figure it out. Is it something we can fix? Is it something we can't fix? Cool. But for me, he's not quality at all, so I don't care that he's going. To be honest, and
you don't think it's quality. You don't think it's quality.
No.
See, for me, let me just say something really quick.
Very inconsistent.
As one of the most supposed experienced players in our team at his age, for how long he's been here, in games this season, as bad as we have been, and it's been a collective badness, as we can all agree, I still expected him to be able to do what he's good at more, and he's not even doing the basics that he's good at doing. He just floating around the game. He hasn't picking the ball, driving through, making run. But he just wasn't there.
I agree, Jen, but that's just it's a mentality thing. At the moment, he's not really 100% there. And when you're not 100% there, you're not going to get those things. That's just what happens. But he can easily start next year at Bayern or at City, and week 1, week 2, he could be man of the match because Kovacic has that ability. It's just a flip as a switch.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we should. Like, when a player checks out, right, it could be for multiple reasons. Kova might just say, "Do you know what? It's time for a new challenge. It's time for a new challenge."
Yes,
it's nothing against you guys. It's nothing against this season, because I do think Chelsea will bounce back. But for me, it's just time for a new challenge. It's time for me to try something new. It could be as simple as that. We don't know. But what's coming out from his camp is that they feel it's a new challenge for him. And Chelsea again would like to. They keep saying it's revolution in midfield. We need a revolution in midfield. We've had Cover now for how many years? And realistically, is he really going to take us to another level as of next season? No,
I don't think
it's time
so,
for
but,
something new.
you know,
It's time for something new.
Left
He doesn't
yourself
fit our
very,
system.
yeah, you've left yourself very thin now because Jorginho went, Kovacic is gone, Kante's now got injured again and is stalled. We only have Enzo. Now, I want to move on to the sort of the incomings and the build up around Ugarte as a player. I haven't watched tons of him. I got to admit, I haven't watched tons of him. I've watched him a bit like Matt against the Arsenal games and a couple of games here and there. And I see a player that I think is what we require in terms of getting around the pitch and breaking up the play. I'm just not sure whether he could be played as a lone DM or if he's more of a pivot player, i.e. next to someone like an Enzo or whatever. That time will tell. And it will probably make more sense as to who else we bring with him. Because I keep saying we're not just buying Ugarte this season. We're going to go and buy another midfielder. You can only look at what we're doing in midfield with Mount, Ruben and Kovacic and Gallagher potentially all going anyway. We're going to need more depth in the middle anyway. But if you look at the potentials of an Enzo and Ugarte in your team, do you think that that's a benefit for Enzo moving forward? Do you think that's the right profile of player that we need right now?
Well, it depends. Where do you want to play Enzo? Like, Jim, I think Jim was saying before, would you play him as an 8? Would you
I
play
want
him
him
as 6?
further forward. He just needs to be able to not worry about his defensive duties as much as we've been doing.
What,
to
like
him
a Fabio
this
Yeah,
season.
I mean, wherever he has to play, if he has a defensively solid partner next to him, he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So if we're playing a 4-2-3-1, it'll be a Enzo Casado or like an Enzo thingy. Is that what we'll do? Ugarte?
But
Is that what we'll do?
I think Ugarte is a great player for our squad. I think we still need to get a Caicedo to actually start.
Yeah.
If we don't want Enzo to have to carry a lot of the burden, tactically and all these different things, almost holding the Ugarte's hands, because he's not on the same development level as Enzo. I know they're coming from the same league and all that, and I like Ugarte, but he has a lot more in his game he needs to add, while Enzo is basically just get better at what you already have. Like, he's already there. You know what I'm saying? In a year, he's going to be a world-class player. Ugarte has maybe a couple years to go. So you get someone like a Caicedo, who I think is the best ball winner out there, like maybe in the world. He's incredible. You get him in, and you have a really strong squad. Which, if you want to play Ugarte and Caicedo as a double pivot, and you have Enzo as a 10, you're incredibly strong. You have different options. You don't always have to play Kunku as a 10, wear him out, because you have nobody on the bench. You can rest him, play Enzo there. You can rest Enzo and do this. There's different options that you can go with.
I agree with that and what you're saying. I think
I like Ugarte as an option. I think he's a great ball winner, very aggressive, very quick. He's good. Tactically, he's not quite there yet.
That's actually good on the ball as well. That's what I'm saying.
The most important thing on all of this is releasing Enzo for me, and like having a player like that next to him and allowing Enzo to be more effective further up the pitch. We've already seen the passing range and the ability of what Enzo can do, and I agree with Dan. You don't see people talking about his price tag, not even rivals anymore. They're quiet, even in this bad season that we're having, because they can see quite clearly the quality is already there. The way he's just slipped in and he's doing his thing, but playing Enzo in more of a versatile option is another thing that's good. It's going to be good for Poch. But I do feel, and I said this to Don yesterday. I said I think he's going to use Enzo as Christian Eriksen. I think that's the type of role.
As long as we use a 3-man midfield, because at the end of the day, that's Tottenham. Like, you have to look at what Poch was doing in his previous history. At Tottenham, they played mainly 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, but it was mainly 4-3-3. And they had a single holding midfielder, Wanyama, right? He screened the defense. Then he had Eriksen and Dembele, doing their box-to-box thing. So that's why I want to make sure that Ugarte is a holding defensive midfielder, somebody who can do that job on his own in front of the back four.
Would you play Caicedo there, though? Or would you play Ugarte there? That's my question.
Ugarte.
There you go. I would say Ugarte.
No.
I would say
Ugarte. I
don't watch him enough. I don't watch Ugarte enough to say he can do that. And when I watch Caicedo, I don't really see him doing that. So to be honest, I still don't know if these guys fully fill that role. But again, Ugarte is young. Caicedo is young. These players can be molded. we got to stop this singular thinking like, oh, he's a this, he's not a this, he's a this, he's not a this. These players are young, they're not fully developed. Poch is a coach who trains his players to perform a certain way. They normally improve. His players normally improve. So we'll see what he does. He probably has a vision for Ugarte.
Wasn't Caicedo for Brighton the whole? Yeah, like I was just going to say to this comment. Wasn't Caicedo for Brighton more of the holding defensive player?
No, he is. That's what he does.
He was like the defense of the defense.
Yeah,
Here's the
thing with
deal.
With these new guys, he's not necessarily a specialist where he's like an Obi Mikel. He has to sit for us the entire time.
No, he's not.
I don't think anyone said that.
He is the defensive presence, meaning whatever team he's playing in, he's the best defensive midfielder in there. Now you can ask him because he's 21 or he's 20. Yeah, he's 21. You can ask him and train him. Okay, I want you to tactically sit a little bit more and pick up these spots instead of going forward more. That's easy to teach a young player of his quality, right? That's easy for them to learn and kind of develop that over time. I think he's more ready for that than Ugarte is. Yes, Ugarte has been playing as a lone DM at times, or more of the defensive player sitting, but I'm saying his qualities aren't quite developed enough yet where he starts in that role. Caicedo can easily start in that role on a regular basis.
Yeah, but the thing is with Caicedo, he's more press resistant than Ugarte, I would say. Ugarte, from what I've seen of him, again, I've only seen him against Arsenal. He looks like a proper solid destroyer, and apparently that's what Poch wants. He wants someone to just destroy that play in the midfield, right? So for me, on the ball, and when it comes to just being more press resistant, I'll say Caicedo is better than him. So if we are going to bring in Caicedo and Ugarte, I would rather Ugarte be the deepest man, play Caicedo as a little bit like a box to box, a bit like a Dembele when it was at Spurs. If you're going to go in a 4-3-3, you're going to play Caicedo and Enzo as the furthest midfielders, and Ugarte just destroying that play. If you play Ugarte in that role, if you play Ugarte further up, I think you're getting less than what you'd get if you play Caicedo further up. Caicedo, I would say, is more of a CM, but he can play that CDM role.
I think I'm only saying that in the case of if all three of them don't start, because I don't think all three of them start at the same time most of the time, especially if you're playing a 4-2-3-1. And Nkunku is a 10. Enzo is going to be in the double pivot as the one who play makes and goes up and goes back, right? And Caicedo is going to sit a lot more. Caicedo is not going to. He's not going to be benched if you're playing a 4-2-3-1. So Ugarte can come in and sit more. Is what I'm saying.
What I would say is this: if we are to go to the 4-3-3, do we have the specific? I mean, you got to look at the forward line as well. Obviously, we're looking at strikers as well. Do we have the specific forward line to play the 4-3-3 with a midfield like that?
I mean, I was saying this to you yesterday, Jem. I think he could play Nkunku off the left. I know we want Modric to develop, but that is an option. Again, you can change the shape 4-3-3 for certain games. Maybe if you're playing against United, with they're quite physical in there. Casemiro, they might get a Rabiot, for example, and then you've got Mason Mount in there or Bruno. You might want to change to a 4-3-3, make it a little bit more physical. So I would say, when it comes to 4-3-3, you can play Nkunku up there. Hopefully we'll get a striker. And then you've got Madueke or Sterling that you can play off the right. So we have the personnel that we can play up top. I wouldn't be worried about that. We've got more than enough numbers.
So moving on to the forward line. João Felix is not...
Wait, Jem, sorry to cut you off. Let me just ask you guys a question.
Go on.
When you look at the top of the Premier League, who's up there? You see City, you see Arsenal, you see United. These teams have a specific defensive midfielder, a specific midfield player that does a specific role, performs a specific duty. Who in Ugarte or Caicedo is equivalent to Rodri, equivalent to Casemiro, equivalent to Partey? Who would you say, which one of them is more equivalent to those players?
It's got to be Ugarte for me.
Caicedo.
Would you say Caicedo? What, as a DM?
There you go.
That's the dynamic. How those two top teams are using them in comparison to how Brighton uses him is different, 100%.
Yes,
but he is the defensive stalwart in his team. We saw when he played us, sitting or not sitting, he won the ball like 10 times. These are the things that you look at, not like where is he sitting exactly or where is he, because that's tactical. That's a coach.
Yeah, but he's more box to box, isn't he? His energies across the pitch.
That's the way he's used at Brighton.
Yeah,
but that's the way he's used. That's why he's able to get 35 key passes and all these different things. If you can get more out of a player, Just because a player can do more doesn't mean they're not still that player.
Yeah, I get that.
There's no other DM in their team. Who's sitting or who's doing it? You know what I mean?
My flip to that is what, and I've heard a couple of Chelsea fans say what AJ said about specialist players, and he's right. They are important in what they do. But my question, my rebuttal to that would be, maybe you're right in what you're saying, but what specialist players are available in the market to go and buy?
No, you're absolutely right. The only real true DM outside,
maybe.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was going to say.
Who'd you say? Who'd you say?
Paulinho.
That would fit Chelsea would be him, Fulham, Paulinho.
I love Paulinho.
I agree with Josh as well. Can hold him in being more. I think you can, Josh. I think you're right, bro. Big up to you, man.
Joshy boy.
We're getting him a lot younger than we got Conte, right? Where, you know, if we got Conte a lot younger, maybe he would have developed parts of his game where he doesn't have to burst forward so much, exert himself, you know what I mean, and sit a little bit deeper. But he's just gotten so used to being all action. He's always going to be all action, and he's going to keep getting injured. But as I say though, at 21, yeah, you can teach him a lot still. Like we saw what Jose Mourinho did with Obi Mikel, who was a number 10. You know what I mean? He saw what he did with Essien, who was able to play everywhere, right? Right back, DM, number 8, wherever you want him to play. These are the type of guys we're going back to getting. If you want him to play number 8, they can play that. Number 6, they can play that. You know,
as long as that thinking is just covered, because at the end of the day, look at all the top teams. There's just a certain formula that works, and you can't ignore
was unstoppable when Conte was playing 38 games. That's the reality. Once he stopped he started playing 18 games, 17 games, 10 games, that's when everything went to shit.
But when you look, it was him and we had the profiles of Conte,
we had
Matic and Fabregas. Those are the 3 essential characteristics of midfielders: a ball winner, a natural holder, and somebody who's a specialist on the ball. You know?
I agree with that.
To me, how I see it, the fact that Poch has come in and pretty much made Ugarte his main target, that just shows me that he wants a destroyer. Because if he didn't, then Caicedo would be his main target. Because we still want Caicedo, but that's more the club more than Poch. Not to say Poch don't like him as a player, but Poch has been pushing for Ugarte, like getting on the phone to him saying, "I want you in my midfield." So the plan for him must be to play as the deepest midfielder.
Think about it this way:
I agree.
You need that weapon in your team, right? Not necessarily that he's going to have to start every game. Like, let's say you want to close out a game. It's 1-0 up. You have 15 minutes left. You look on the bench. There's nobody you can bring on to close out the game, like we used to bring on Obi Mikel or even Essien off the bench when like Makaleli was here.
Yeah,
you can do that with anybody and say, let's close this game out. When you have a dynamo in that, and you know that he can do that, even if he needs to develop the rest of his game, maybe he comes in and we find out his passing is not quite maybe what we thought. That's okay, because we can still use you in that role if you want to just kill something, right?
But Dan, look, this is a healthy conversation to be having, because right now we haven't got anyone apart from Enzo.
Yeah.
So this is good. This will be good if we can get both of them.
100%.
And I will always echo the fact that we need to probably get the right profiles as well as the right backups, because we've done it before and we've done it plenty of times where we've run players to the ground. What we're going to end up doing if we don't get the right sort of players, I mean, hopefully we do anyways. Hopefully they will work out. The last thing I want is us running Enzo 38 games a season for the next 5 years and him breaking down after. I mean, we did that with Conte and look what happened.
Not ruin Enzo, man.
We'll ruin Enzo in 5 years if we don't get the players right.
I just can't
get the like versatile guys, right? That if Enzo's out, I'm not looking up, because nobody of Enzo's quality is going to sit on the bench, right?
No.
And just be his backup.
No.
So if Enzo doesn't start, it's not of like, just like for City, you know, if KDB isn't starting, the Gundogan just plays in his role, right? And then you bring in someone else, and they probably have a squad of like 15 players who play most of the games, right? So it's like, but they rotate between those 15 players. So if I need a right winger, I don't have to bring in a youth academy player to come in for Mahrez. No, I'll just move Bernardo Silva there, right? And bring in Gundogan for that game, and have Rodri in there, and still have KDB and Foden and Haaland. So is this a case of having top quality players you can use in several roles? Not like you have a specific backup for him, a specific backup for him. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. It's a mix of both, you know, because you have to have certain players have to have a replacement. You understand, and then certain roles, you know, you can just fill the gap. But I agree with your point.
I think versatility.
There's no replacing Enzo, right? Like
you can't replace Enzo. Mate.
You can't. No. As hard as it was to get Enzo, what player out there can you get and say this guy's going to play just like Enzo for us? There isn't.
Probably De Jong. That's it.
Yeah, you just need the highest quality. So it's like, okay, if Enzo's not there, okay, I'll play a double pivot of Caicedo and Ugarte and Nkunku number 10.
Mate, this is why I was so pushing the fact that we get Enzo, because there's not many. He's such a specialist in his profile that there's just not many of them out there. And the fact that we've got him here, you now need to unleash that quality, but you need to make sure you have the right profiles next to him. And then profiles have to have that versatility to their game, because I do think Poch is going to switch systems. You might see that he sticks to a 4-2-3-1 to start with, and then in between games goes into a 4-3-3. Yeah, exactly. So you want to have the players to be able to have that adaptability, but also I want people to come in with the attitude that they want to fucking challenge each other and push each other and get them, get in the team. That will make us better. That was what made us so successful in the past as Chelsea, winning Premier Leagues in the past and being successful. We need that again. We don't want players sulking on the bench. You don't want to play because I've only played. I think I'm better than this. It's what we've got at the moment. The same shit mentalities of players that are sitting here now that have been here long enough that need to fuck off. But we need to move on, guys, because I need to get to the forward line. Obviously, we wrap up things. Obviously, Nkunku's coming in. In his last game, he scored, I think, 2 goals and assists, whatever. But just doing Nkunku, which is good. Well, it's still going to be looking at a striker. Karim Benzema's announcing his departure today. I know he's going to probably shoot off to Saudi Arabia or something like that. We obviously know Ivan Toney's got a ban as well. So João Felix is a player that's not been accepted, supposedly, by Pochettino, and he will be going back to Atletico Madrid. We won't be trying to negotiate anything anymore with that. I think that's a big statement from the manager, and I like that, because what he's doing here is going, you don't fit what I'm trying to do.
Oh, you like that, Jim? Yeah, you like that?
Well, no, because if it was Kai Havertz and it was the same thing, I would say the same thing, because what we've had problems with Graham Potter is he's just trying to make everyone happy.
Yes.
I don't want just to, it doesn't work. The squad's too big. We've got over 40 players could have come back in the summer.
This is what I was saying. This is what I was saying to Terry yesterday.
And this is what I was going to say. He has to get it right, Poch, because he's going to piss people off. He's going to piss people off because he's going to get rid of players that people wanted. He may keep some players that maybe people didn't want. He's going to have to do that and go with what's best for him.
Let's get this right. Let's get this right about Poch, right? If he came in when Tuchel got sacked, we wouldn't have seen a lot of players that have been playing this season. Ziyech, Pulisic, all these guys would have got frozen out by Poch. You would have told them straight up, listen, you're not part of my plans. We're going to look to move you on. We're not playing you, right? That's the sort of manager you need. It's a good start from him, gentlemen, in all honesty.
And imagine, Ziyech nearly goes to PSG, but the next game he ends up playing for Chelsea. Can you imagine Poch doing that?
Poch would never do that. Never do that.
Do you know what
and that's what I think it's good he's taking charge. I mean, I was someone who actually liked Felix, but I never want to sign him on a thing, and I'm actually glad he's took charge and said, hey, I don't want him doing my plans, get him out. But I think, now that Karim Benzema is leaving, I've been hearing Kai Havertz to Madrid. That means there's an open striker spot. And, people saying Vlahovic. I was looking at that guy, and everyone's been saying it the last 24 hours. It's that guy from West Ham, and I completely forgot about him. That guy is 6'5", Skamara, the Italian guy. I've not watched him at West Ham, but I'd said, hey, he was balling there. Is that a Poch player? I don't know. I think he's a big guy. He's a tall guy. Is he a Poch player?
You mean Skamaka?
Skamaka?
Yeah,
Skamaka ain't. But what I think is actually a Poch player, obviously looking at Harry Kane, for example, he wants a striker that's gonna work hard, that's gonna link play, but also is gonna have the ability to score goals. Now, Nkunku can do that from a deeper role. So the only other striker that I can think of that can do that, barring Ivan Toney, in my opinion, is Osimhen.
We're going for Osimhen, guys.
That is I said
it was impossible a couple of weeks ago.
Doesn't fit that because he's a goal scorer. He's not.
I don't know. The noise we're hearing, these guys are crazy. They're gonna do it.
I don't think.
No, it's such a bally thing to do, man.
And I'm here for it. I would have preferred Tony, but if we get Osimhen, I'm happy either way, man.
I'm trying to stay away.
It's just going to be a very difficult thing
I'll be honest. When people watch him play, I think people have a misconception like he's like a Lukaku. I think you should more so think about Costa, like somebody who absolutely works the dog shit, right? But can finish like hell. Those are the two things I always give him. Now, is he as silky on the ball as Tony? Hell no, but he's a killer, and that's what we need at this point. Like, I get it. There are players who can play better on the ball and they can do this, do that. For the available options, I just want somebody who's a killer and who's going to work their ass off, who's going to press when the manager says press, who's not going to complain about, well, I said you're going to play me in this style and I'm not quite playing that style. Because Lukaku's not a bad player. He's just an asshole. That's what people don't understand.
Yeah, he's a prick.
He's not a
big one
player.
as well.
He's a very good player. He's just an asshole. Like, he wants things done his way completely. So I don't like. I'd rather the price for Osimhen is disgusting.
Yeah,
but
it's not good.
When clubs look at us, we spent 120 on a center mid. Yeah, he's a special center mid, but he's still a center mid. They're gonna ask for 130 for him, 140.
I just think Karim Benzema fits us just with his mobility because he
Oh
does get.
It makes sense, but Benzema is going into a club where he's going to be competing about.
He's not worth.
Yeah, he's going to.
He wouldn't leave Real Madrid. Like,
not worth that risk, man. His body's breaking down.
A false 9 role, but can still score consistently at the level that he has done for so.
Jimmy, you forget how poor he was at the bridge. He's not the same. Man.
Yeah, I get that. Don't get me wrong. He's old now. He's 36 now, so I get it. But if this option came available 3 years earlier, I wouldn't have turned him away.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I just think he's class. But like with Osimhen, like I see the hype with him. The only thing that worries me with him is just where he's coming from. Because we've seen players come from Italy and come to the Premier League and just not perform to that level. And not just that, it's the consistency of it. Can he do it season by season by season?
Yeah.
That's the big question mark with Osimhen.
But the thing with him though, Jem, every season, if you look at his career, his goals have gone up and gone up and gone up, right? Yeah. And if you look at the environment he's just been in with Napoli, the link up he had with I'm not going to say his name. I just call him KK, right? Because I can't pronounce his name. The link up the link up that he's had with him. If you put Osimhen in the right environment, he's going to get on the end of a lot of chances. He might miss chances. Haaland misses chances. Every striker is going to miss chances. But most of the time, he's putting them away. So it's all about the environment we bring him into. If we bring him in the way we did with Lukaku and there's still midfield problems, we still ain't got no creativity there, we still haven't sorted out who's going to play on the wing, it's not going to work. You need to bring Osimhen. You need to bring Osimhen into a functional system. A functional system.
With everything that we saw, right? Like, I know, we've always bring in these prolific type of strikers like Osimhen, Werner, Torres, players that are all of these type of calibers, but I don't know, man. I don't think we are at that stage to bring in an Osimhen type. I feel like you bring in an Osimhen type as a cherry on top type, just to kill off games, finish our chances.
But Hassan, we create chances at the moment, and look how poor we are, right? We haven't got a midfielder, like we haven't got a DM, and we haven't got a striker. Against Man United, if we've got Osimhen, or if Arsenal had those chances, Liverpool had them chances. Man United are 3-0 down by half time, right? So it's clear to see that there's gaps in our team. There's a lot of holes to fill.
I agree.
Right? I don't think it's not the time to bring him in. We fill in those holes and we bring him in as well. It will be a good signing.
Can you also imagine, right, having 2 actual killers up front, Osimhen and Nkunku, right, in the box, right, on the end of the chances that we create, with Enzo supplying them. Now, knowing that he's going to, if every time he plays it in, we're going to. This is what we need. This is the quality of killers. I don't want these technical people that run around and create but don't score many goals. I want killers, man.
Osimhen is the type of player who would make that run for Enzo 8 times a game, 9 times a game. Just keep making it. Even if he doesn't get the ball. This is the attributes I look at. And you can call me I like the passion. I do, especially from strikers. When you ask them to do, because there's some games where you're not going to get the ball. There's some games where you just have to keep making runs. And in the 90th minute, that's when you get it. And you still have to score, right? These are the things that happen with strikers. And when you have strikers like a Lukaku, who just, if it's not going his way, I'm not going to work. I'm do things at my own pace. That's what
scares me, bro.
That's what really messed us up. I think Osimhen is very similar to Costa.
But do
It's a natural instinct for him. Yeah.
Do you think the profile of having Nkunku and Osimhen can work in the same team? Do you think that can happen? You think that could work?
100%. 100%.
And it helps Nkunku a lot because then he has that middle area to do what he wants. You know, the half spaces to pick up the ball. Because he knows Osimhen is going to make the runs. He's going to give him that space.
Exactly.
Osimhen's not dropping deep to occupy the number 10's role and pick up the ball. No, I'm looking for areas where I can just score. I'm not worried about, you know, doing all that. Now he can connect. He's not a build-up. He's not great with, like, he's not going to get the ball filled off 5-6 guys. And no, he's not. No.
Look at, I'm not saying Enzo's on the same level as KDB, right? But Enzo can create chances, right? And if you look at Man City, the first thing that Haaland does when he sees KDB get the ball is he's off. He's on his bike, trying to get in behind the defenders, taking them away, and KDB plays it in behind him. It'll be a similar sort of thing with Osimhen. He knows straight away Enzo's looking for him every single time. And that will create a lot more space for Nkunku to run into because all the defenders are going to be looking at Osimhen like, shit, we need to run after him. Do you know what I mean? So I think it would definitely help Nkunku as well, like if he's playing as the 10, because Osimhen's going to take away a lot of the defenders and Enzo's going to keep playing those balls in behind. Enzo, one thing about him is always looking forward. You never see him playing it diagonal or sideways. He's just looking forward every single time. So Hassan, in all honesty, mate, as long as we plug these gaps, he will get on a lot of chances. I promise you that.
Chelsea, Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea have had new contacts today with Manuel Ugarte. Chelsea are really pushing, but PSG are also there too. Once again, keep an eye out on Caicedo. It's not only Ugarte, Caicedo is there too. What does that tell you?
That's a great report. I just want to ask you guys though,
both of us.
Osimhen, like you're saying he should be Chelsea's number 1 target. That's what you guys are saying.
Also, Manu Kone is another one on the list, along with Caicedo and Ugarte via Fabrizio Romano as well.
Priorities of Caicedo and Ugarte. Sorry, AJ, what was you saying?
Go on.
Are you saying Osimhen should be Chelsea's number 1 target?
No, my number 1 target would have been Ivan Toney, but you ain't going to see him for how many months?
Yeah, but as of now, Jem, we're not talking about because we all prefer Osimhen. We all prefer Toney, but I'm saying as of now, he should be our main target, 100%.
So who would be the because it will be tough for us to get him. I'm not gonna lie. I don't see it happening. It would be nice for it to happen, but I'm not the biggest fan of these large transfers anymore because they just never work out. They never work out for us. I don't know what it is. I mean, okay, you're right. I agree.
Yeah, but AJ, it's all about it's all about the environment you bring them into. Same way with Pochettino. If we don't get rid of these players and Todd Bowley is still running into changing rooms and doing what he's been doing this season, Poch will not work, bro. We need to make sure the environment is right?
Yeah.
When we brought in these strikers recently, as of Costa, the environment has not been right. There's been no structure. It's just been buy a striker and see if that works. Do you know what I mean? We've had Morata, we've had Lukaku last season, who was a shambles. So it's all about the environment that you have for these players. This ain't Chelsea under Roman. I think people forget that. This is a completely different thing now that we're building. So I don't think you should have PTSD going forward. As long as we do what we need to do, then it should be a lot better than what we've had in the past.
Poch is a good coach, so I he could work well with the striker. I agree, but I would just want to know who would be Plan B, because I'm not hanging my hat on Osimhen in this summer transfer window. So who would be Plan B?
I reckon we'll try and go for Vlahovic because he's still on our list apparently. I think we'll try and go for him.
AJ, Plan E. 5 strikers. I've been saying it all season. 5 strikers. Bring in my 5 strikers. Every time I come, big up everyone. It's been a while. Every time I come here, you guys are talking mass about midfielders, and all I can think about who's going to score the goals. I'd rather play Route 1 football, since we've got a good defense, bypass our midfield, and just have strikers up front, just battling it out. See who'd be our striker. Gladiator out there. Just have 5 of them. Just throw. I'd rather do that. That's how bad it's been. I just want a striker. I don't think like getting Osimhen and then Nkunku doesn't feel me like we've been getting all these. I'm a little bit like AJ. I know we can't follow patterns because if we do that, like we're never going to get an academy kid again because we say we fail them all the time. But I want at least 3 if one can't do it, then they're all fighting for a spot, and they can all step it up.
Pipe down declared. Stop it. You know damn well we're not getting 3 strikers. What are you talking about?
I'm hoping I'm asking for 5, and I'll settle for 3. That's where I'm at.
Well, if we're fixing our midfield,
Yeah,
we're
bro,
just
You
Bro,
take one and you be
the
satisfied.
striker position should work better.
I won't be satisfied.
If we're addressing the midfield, the
Let's not
striker
forget that-
position should function
Let's
better.
not forget that we have
exactly.
We still have Broa there as well, and he will be back in the
Yeah.
summer from his long-term injury.
He can
That's
be one.
one striker that you got there. Then you go and get one more. Is Havertz going to stay or go? Fuck knows. We're going to see very soon.
Where's Matt? What was that?
If I'm Havertz, I go to Real Madrid. If I'm Havertz, I'm going to Real Madrid.
Why the hell would they want? Why would they
I don't
want
know,
Havertz
but
for?
they want. If
Apparently, they want him as. I think that's fake news, man. If they want him as their 9, then Stevie Wonder.
Well, apparently Poch wants to keep Havertz and
if
use
they
him in
want
the
me, I'm
14.
going, bro.
Apparently Poch wants to keep Havertz and play him in the 10 role, was what I read today. That's
Off the bench, I don't mind it. I don't mind it, Jim. What did I say? I've been saying it all season. Off the bench, Havertz brings a little something. When everyone's tired, he can come on and bring a little something. But starting, no.
He'll be back up to Nkunku, wouldn't he? Do you know what I mean? It'll be like a switch up. But if we,
Well,
the
I don't
fact
know
that we get rid of Mount and
he's
Felix,
bringing. He needs to be developed a lot, so he needs to play a lot of games. It's not going to be in Chelsea,
the
mate.
thing is, you don't get rid of Mount and you don't, if we're not getting Felix, right? And then Pulisic is going and Ziyech's going. I don't see Havertz going. Like I said this earlier on, I don't, unless he pushes it or someone comes in with a mad offer for Kai Havertz, Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. I don't think he's going anywhere. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. Yeah, I think he stays too, but I don't know where he's gonna play.
What position does Kone play? Is he a DM?
10, Josh, 10. That's where you should play. That's what I think. Anyway.
Kone, what position does he play? Is he a DM?
He's a DM.
He's a DM, yeah.
He's a DM. Solid
I gotta
DM.
go see what he's about.
Young still needs a bit. I mean, he's a bit like, for me, he's in the same progression time as Latvia when you look at like their age and like where they are and their abilities. Like they're still very raw, very good players, but very raw and they've got a lot to still learn. I would actually, if we can get Latvia, get him, but I just think they're going to want about 50 mil and I think it's going to be too much for that sort of player. So I don't know. You know,
listen, we got to be careful with these guys.
Mason Mount funds about a signing and a half. You know, if we sell Mason Mount, he's
Mason Mount should fund ultimate. That's why
he funds them.
Hey, but I still think that our outgoings is going to dictate who we bring in. I think that's how we're going to go. Like, like I know you guys were talking about midfielders, but if we don't get rid of some of our midfielders, I don't think they come in. And I think depending on who goes out,
of these midfielders are leaving though. Like it's not even like at least 3, no, at least 4 have already. Because I've already told you guys, Conte is not signing. He was close to signing in January. We're getting into June. Yeah, he's not signing shit. So you know, Conte's gone, Kovacic is gone, Mount's gone, right, and Loftus-Cheek is gone. These are guys who have deals on the table, and we're gonna get a deal. You know, maybe 35 for Kova or 30, something like that, which I think is a good deal for him. Maybe 65 to 70 from Mount, maybe 65 plus bonuses or something. Things like that, you know what I mean? We're gonna get a good deal for a lot of these guys. So I warned people about Kante. I warned them. People were saying give this guy a 3-year contract. I said we don't know what Kante is gonna come back. We don't know if he's gonna get more injuries. Let's not be let's not think it's gonna be the same Kante coming back. Do you know what I mean? And look what's happening. It looks like he's not gonna get a new contract.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want one, really.
Guys, I've got. I know Declared you come a bit late, but I've got a dip. We've been on for over 2 hours. I've got a little bit of work to do as well, but I am back in full flow now, which means we'll be on covering every bit of news that comes up to goes through the transfer market. There's gonna be a lot of surprises on the way. There's gonna be a lot of players leaving. Like I said, it's gonna piss off some people. It's gonna make other people's happy. Just be ready for it, man. Whatever Poch needs to do to get the best out of his system, I'm behind it. And look, I wasn't fond of Poch coming over, but now he's here. I'm gonna give him his chance. My question with Poch, and I've always said it, is can he take us to the next step in himself, in his own management abilities? Can he do that? That's the big question. But first and foremost, I want to see a structure. I want to see a core 11 to a degree. I want to see players playing in positions that brings the best out of their abilities. And then I want to see consistency, but that then goes on to the players showing that on the pitch. And I think we'll get that, providing that we have a system in place. So let's see what happens. We've got a lot. We're going to do a Poch. We're going to do a Poch show soon where we just talk about him specifically, set up ideas, and it all sort of fall in between, you know, the players that are coming in, the players that are going and stuff, and we'll start putting things together and trying to work out what we think we're going to try and do moving forward. That's going to be through all of the summer as well. We'll have Pies here, probably have Ben Jacobs here, we'll probably have all them, you know, the usual people coming through as well at some point. But yeah, no more football, guys. No more football for a little while. Maybe a good thing for us, having a little break for after that atrocity. But big love, as always. Good to be back. Good to see the boys as well that are sitting here right now. It's been a little while, I've got to admit. Partly my fault, but I've been a bit busy. But yeah, big up, guys. See you later on. Take care. Up the Chelsea. And one more thing I've got to say to you guys. Havertz is inevitable.